Hello, everybody. Today's practice is going to be all about finding resonance in our bodies as we move into 2026. Um, at the end of the year, all of us are quite stressed, and it's also the time where we think we have to reinvent ourselves to move into the next year, and we make sometimes crazy New Year's resolutions, and they don't really come from a place of being grounded within what we want, what our body needs, what our environment allows. And so I thought the word resonance is a good one to carry into even when you are making resolutions, to make them from a place of resounding. So the word resonance, re, feeds back, sonare, or sound, so it sounds back to you. If you think of a violin, or the grand piano, it has a resonance body, and it's a collaboration between maybe what you impose, the effort you put in yoga, it would be stira, and the sound that comes back with ease, the collaboration, or the sukha in yoga. So it's going to be a very grounded, simple sort of hatha seated practice with a few postures. And our focus is going to be on finding that space where your input and the feedback that you give are in balance so that you are co creating. Maybe there's even a little bit of magic that happens. Let's see. Okay, so find a comfortable seat. I have a few props here just so you can play around with the positions. And other than that, you can also sit up on a chair to begin with. We're just going to drop into the breath for a moment. Maybe it's nice to shrug the shoulders back a few times. Good. And if you like, you can close your eyes or just softly gaze down. And maybe there's already an aiming towards resonance, even in this simple seat. How you place your spine up on your sits bones will rebound the energy from the earth back into you. And as you release your shoulders down, might be a lightness and openness through the heart. And as you let go through the front of your groins, you might feel that the earth receives your legs. And then, if possible, breathing in and out through the nose. And just being curious about where the breath wants to flow today. Our bodies, as we speak, they are actual resonance bodies here. Voice will change as your body changes. And allowing this body to be filled up with air. And as you exhale, you might feel this resonance body shrinking a little bit. And just noticing the volume, not just up and down, front and back, side to side. Good. If there's an intention you want to set for today, perhaps bringing your hands together in front of the heart. Maybe you like to dedicate this practice to yourself. Or maybe just want to stay with this idea of resonating through the practice. Good. And then you can release the hands. And let's get some of the movement out of the way so we can be a little bit more still. Let's simply come into a tabletop position. As always, if you need a blanket underneath the knees, go ahead, place a blanket underneath your knees. Let's see, I'm going to turn around this way. And if you need a block underneath your hands to let the fingertips cascade down, you can do that. Or also on your forearms if your wrists are a bit tired today. And then we'll just go into a simple cat-cow. Inhale to open the heart. And as you exhale, rounding the spine. And here already noticing if you tend to push. And how you can engineer the movement so that it's more of a collaboration between your idea of what this movement is supposed to look like, feel like, and the actual presence in your body. And let's push back towards the child's pose for a moment. Your knees can be wider. Hips don't have to fully touch the ground, not a problem. Let's come up onto the fingertips and lengthen. You can release the forehead down, or sometimes it's nice to have something underneath the forehead. For example, in my personal body, it feels nicer to have something underneath the forehead. It feels like my body resonates a bit more with this shape than if the block were away and I'm fully down on the ground. I feel a bit suffocated. It's an intense word. But here I find more length through the sides of the body. There's an ease amidst the effort of moving the fingertips forward, amidst the effort of grounding through the sits bones. Good. Now let's come back onto hands and knees. Good. And let's go side to side with the spine. Inhale, center. And exhale, gazing over the right shoulder to look towards the knees. Inhale, center. Exhale, gazing over the left shoulder. Good. Just a few of these, your own pace. Allowing the sides of the body to get longer while the other side is shrinking a little bit. Just being rooted in the sensations within your body. So you move in a way that feels like it's giving back. Last round, inhale, center. Exhale over to the right. And inhale, center. And exhale over to the left. Good. And then coming into center. And then let's sit down one more time. I'm going to open through the shoulders a bit. You can, I'd say, let's come into an internal rotation. So some of us can sit between the heels without anything. Some of us need 1 block, 2 blocks. Of course, if your knees do not allow, you can sit anywhere, but sometimes it's good to go into internal rotation. So the knees are closer together and the heels are apart. Nice. And you can take a moment here to rock front and back on your sits bones, just to notice where's my weight. And then finding the center so you can rise up from there. Let's interlace the hands behind the back for a moment. If the hands don't come together, you can always grab a strap to make the distance a little bit wider. And then you can roll the shoulders back. Good. And you can continue with some micro movements, especially today, just to find maybe there's like a go-to place you tend to settle in. And what happens if you're curious about tuning your body just so it sounds right. Good. Let's bring the fists over to the left side and the head over as well. Okay. Maybe moving the elbow away from the head. And perhaps you want to draw your chin in towards the chest and a little bit away. Again, looking for that spot that feels nourishing. And then we'll go to the other side. Fists move away. If you want to change the interlocking, so the other thumb on the other pinky go on top, opening through the shoulder, inhale. And then exhale, fists over towards the other side. And the head goes in the same direction as the fist. And then elbow, shoulder moving away from you. And again, just being curious about which angle feels nice. No destination. Good. And then let's release. And we'll come into sitting. Let's do a few forward folds. I'm going to sit with my bum here and my legs over there. I like to sit up on a blanket. See how high your blanket or the block is that you want to be sitting on. And then we're going to extend the legs forward for a moment. Good. And I'm going to start with my left leg today. Inhale, bending my left knee. Exhale, opening it out to the side. Good. And we're going to fold forward, but it might not be much of a forward fold. So being curious about how far you want to lean forward. And maybe you want to bend this knee and place something underneath the knee. Maybe that's where you feel like, oh, now I feel my body resonating. Now it's coming back. And I get a sense of ease, spaciousness. It's just a pure exploration. Sometimes I get asked in a class, so what is the goal of a pose? Like, for example, in this pose, is it the goal to find a certain kind of bind and have the forehead down on the ground? No. The goal of the pose is to simply find a new space to be. If you want to use a strap and come out more, you can do that. If this pose, Janu Shirshasana, didn't have a goal, where would you want to be? Where do you want to breathe? What do you want to feel? Good. And now let's slowly come up. We'll go to the other side. So extending the left leg. I'm going to bend the right knee. Inhale. And then exhale, opening it out to the side. So you can also play around with where this foot is. If your knee's floating up high, I would suggest sitting up a little bit higher. Again, that's going to give you a bit of space to the front of the hips. Again, the more we can be received by the ground underneath us, the more it's going to be easy for us to hear what's really coming up, as opposed to using up all our energy just to being in this space. So again, see if you want to use some props. Come out. Maybe there's a bit of a leaning. The more I practice yoga, I notice there's so much going on in the torso. Even in these, what we would normally call a hamstring stretch. And it's just so fun to observe. This doesn't mean that you can't feel your hamstrings. Of course, you're going to feel them. That's fine. Maybe letting go 5% so that you can actually hear and listen. Good. And then we'll slowly come out as well. Let's just extend the legs forward. I'm going to lean back as well. And let's ground the feet. And let's come into a reverse tabletop just for a moment. Inhale. And as you exhale, you can press the feet into the ground. Lift the hips. If this is too strong, you can also just say, I'm just going to cat and cow here. We just want to release the spine a little bit after rounding forward. If that felt nice, you can lift up. Inhale. Exhale, lower. Just a couple more. Inhale. Again, the hips don't have to lift up as high as mine. Maybe they lift up higher. Maybe just lift up a little bit. Where does it feel like you can move into your strengths just for a moment of your back body? Counter this rounding. Nice. Then we'll come up to sitting again. Good. Let's come into a cross-legged position. I'm going to face forward. Let's say with the right leg in front, you can be heel in line with the heels. I'm going to go into Sukhasana, where the shins are going to be more parallel towards one another. This gives a bit more of a lever on the hips. Feels nice for me. If it doesn't feel nice, any way of cross-legged sitting. Good. And then we're going to twist first. You can reach the arms up, inhale. And then as you exhale, let's twist towards the right side. We're just going to hang out here for a moment, getting super curious. I'm basically doing a bit of a cat and cow here to see where do I want to be with my spine. Some of us with shorter arms like me, hands behind us don't feel really grounded, in which case you can also get a prop to make your arms a little bit longer. So you can go for more width and space across the heart. You also don't have to force your neck. Head can just be in the center, sort of in line with your breastbone. And then we'll go twist to the other side. Inhale, center. Then exhale, twisting to the other side. And then again, just being curious, maybe this side feels different. And we're also always collaborating with gravity. So in some ways, yoga or anything we do on earth as a matter is a dance between you and the earth and her pull. Good. So we're resonating with her. Let's come back to center. Inhale. And as you exhale, you can fold forward with this orientation of the legs for a moment. Good. Again, where do you want to be? You can also play around with how you place your hands. Hands wider often gives a bit more space in the shoulder blades. You can move them out to the side. But if you feel like surrendering, palms up, that's fine too. Again, if you don't push, maybe something else starts to happen. Something unexpected. Some joy, some ease, some magic. Good. And then we'll go to the other side, slowly coming up. And then we'll change the legs. Other leg in front. Again, maybe on this side you need a different angle of the legs. Who knows? We'll twist to the left first. Inhale, reaching up. And then exhale, twisting to the left. Good. If you want to, in your twist this time, you can come forward. So the heart is more or less aligned or facing the knee. If your knees are wider, it might look a little bit different. Slightly turn to the left, and then you can come forward. So Parshva Sukhasana. Good. And again, maybe you're higher up, maybe you're lower down, doesn't really matter. Keeping the right sit bone grounded. And maybe looking for what is coming back, as opposed to what you're trying to do or achieve. Good. And then we'll slowly come back up. Go to the other side. Inhale, reaching the arms up. Exhale, twisting to the right side this time. Just for a moment so you can establish the twist. Good. Maybe it's minimal. And then keeping the twist slightly facing your right knee this time. Maybe coming forward a little bit. It's going to feel a little bit different. The usual, checking in, unnecessary tension. And then slowly coming up, reaching the arms up. Inhale. And And then we'll go straight forward with the other leg in front, just to create some symmetry through the body. And you can close your eyes. I'm giving rough guidelines, but you don't have to follow. Maybe your forward fold looks different. Maybe you're really rounded. And maybe you're really lengthening. See where you find just the right feedback. Good. And then we'll slowly come up from this one as well. And then we'll lie down onto our backs. We'll just take one bridge pose. You can always come up through the side. I'm gonna ground my feet, hip width distance apart. And maybe just a few wavy movements here as you inhale. You can press into the ground, vertebrae by vertebrae, and then back down. You can also just think about pressing the feet into the ground and letting the rest happen. Getting curious about how the movement travels back, how it resonates back into the body. And then if you like, you can just stay here. Some people like to hold on to the outer edges of the mat. If you feel ready to interlace the fingers behind the back, you can do that. Good. And then just finding the right amount of... Sometimes they use the word edge in yoga. It sounds like you're almost falling over the edge, but I think what they mean is just the right balance point of receiving, giving. Good. And then you can slowly release if you haven't already. Just for a moment, feet as wide as the mat, knees knocking in. Good. And you can stay here for Shavasana. Just a moment of full receptivity. If your lower back is on the sensitive side, you can of course also extend the legs out. And today I feel like keeping my hands on my belly. If you want to move the arms out to the side, you can do that too. I'm just going to guide you through quick relaxation. Maybe a sigh. Maybe a check-in with your jaw, the shoulders, the hands. No matter where they are, they're just there. And I have quite a hard time letting the head go. Something I notice. And for you, it might be the legs or the belly. And so seeing if you can coax your body into being more porous. We have to have some space for things to resonate. If the violin was filled with socks, there wouldn't be much of a sound. There's a hollowness to resonance bodies. There's space, emptiness in a good way for energy, sound, vibration to travel through. So see if you can make your legs a bit more hollow. Your torso gets more hollow. Hollow or empty of tension. Your arms, all 10 fingers, hollow spaces. Chest cavity. Lungs are actually hollow space to some degree. As well as your neck and your head. nice and hollow, ready to resonate, ready to co-create. And maybe just staying with that imagery for a moment. And if you like to stay here for a little while longer, go ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to start to wiggle. Deeper breaths. Maybe a yawn. I'm going to bend one knee at a time and roll over. Let's take another moment to be supported. And from there, with little effort, coming back up. I'm going to sit up for a moment. Bring my hands together in front of the heart. And I hope this video resonated with you and that you can carry this feeling into 2026 for making decisions, for just being with yourself, for making your life a little bit more fuller. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.